Good morning. Hi, Collective. This is a message that I released a post in the community tab about related to the 4 pictures that I posted yesterday. And it's a collective reading. It was a download. And the title of it is going to be Fragmentation, Traumatized People Traumatize Others. And so I was picking up on the energy of the mind of an individual who has not chosen wisely and continues to make choices going forward in their life from fear and past traumas, and that energy is surrounding the collective. And what I kept hearing is right now is a time to observe rather than absorb. So observe the result of choosing from your fears and your traumas, as opposed to choosing from your desire for new opportunities and your choice to heal. Observing the result of, what probably most likely has been projected onto you if you're dealing with someone that is experiencing fragmentation of the mind. Understanding that just because you choose to heal, those around you that see that you have made that choice will not always choose to heal. And especially when you're dealing with someone or interacting with a person or a group of people that carry this traumatized energy, when they go about their daily life, business relationships, romantic relationships, jobs, families, how they interact with their children, understanding that karma is very, very real. It's not a joke, and the energy of responding is different than reacting. When you're reacting, you are choosing to limit yourself. You're choosing to operate from a place of past trauma and fear. And in a way, that is building a stepping stone path towards the fragmentation of your mind. And when you recognize that choosing to heal has its own karma behind it, which karma is just a lesson, you begin to understand that there are deeply rooted beliefs in society and families and institutions that are not beneficial to individual people. And because we're all, no two people have the same, path in life, understanding that the trauma that we can choose to bring on ourselves or choose to reenact, even though the experience that the trauma stemmed from is not our own experience, in a way that is us choosing to fragment parts of our identity. And that's a very dangerous thing to do that. It's not a wise choice to choose to live from the past or choose to live from your past traumas. And, becoming informed about, okay, this is a trauma, this is how I interacted with it, this is how it impacted me. The best choice is to choose to heal. However that looks for you, I can't speak for that. I can only speak for myself. The best outcome for me throughout my life has been to choose to accept the truth of who people are as they are, rather than choosing to see them how I want them to be or how I would prefer that they interact with me. And so what I keep hearing is that Your choice to heal has secured new opportunities at this time in your life that would not have been available to you if you had remained stuck in the past in unhealed trauma. And because of that, I just want to encourage you. I kept hearing everything you are seeking is seeking you at the same time. And as you're observing, karma unfold in these people's lives, that is the medicine that you were praying for. That is the medicine that you actually wanted, not as a revenge, but you wanted justice. You wanted balance because you have been on the receiving end of not having that, not being given that, not being acknowledged. And so, karmic justice to me is blind justice. It's the justice that we oftentimes think is harsh, but in reality, it is the sharp blade of truth that heals, that makes a way for better to come into our life. And so what I hear, the divine telling you is that right now it is exposing people's truth to you, for you to understand that happening is a part of your life. It's not separate from you. It's not something that you control, but it is reflecting that back to you so that you understand the weight of choosing to limit yourself and choosing to stay stuck in the past and not recognize family trauma for exactly what it is, and allowing even family members to be cut off from your life and your presence when it's necessary. Because if the family dynamic is that everybody just kind of skirts around the issue and ignores the elephant in the room and doesn't discuss it, doesn't talk about it, that's not healthy. And if you're listening to this, if you've been drawn to this video, you likely are somebody that has recognized trauma and has said, I don't want any part of it, and I'm going to heal for myself, not because there's something inherently wrong with me, but because I want to experience my best possible life in this experience. I don't want to be dragged down into depression and anxiety and just toxic relationships that are not healthy. I am understanding that my words and my thoughts and my intentions manifest in my reality. My thoughts become things. My thoughts become jobs, relationships, marriages, children, and they become contracts. They become responsibilities. And also on the other side of that, they can become liabilities if you're not willing to focus on the understanding that you've gained from your past experiences in life to move forward without regret. Right? And so just accepting the truth of who people are for who they are is what right now is ensuring your success and actualizing your vision for your life. And so what I'm hearing is your new chapter is here, your promotion, that new job, that new house, if you're relocating, if you're moving, that's here. And this is part of your life purpose, to experience the fulfillment and satisfaction from putting in the work to heal, and then seeing the result of better relationships, of better partnerships, of more stable thoughts, more stable foundation in your life. The other insight was Psalm 91:11, which speaks to Source commanding the angels to guard you in all your ways so that you don't even hit your foot against a stone. And so If you have someone that's in a fragmented state of mind, of course what they're projecting onto you is going to be the opposite of what I'm speaking of right here. They're going to remind you of where you came from. Well, you already know where you came from, but you've learned the lessons that were there, and so you have cleared those lessons from your life. You don't need to go back and reread chapters that you've already experienced. You've closed them out. You've learned the lesson. You don't need to repeat it. And if you're moving forward because you have chose to heal. And right now is a time of culmination of healing, where maybe in your past life, in your childhood, you did not feel safe in your person. And what I am receiving is that even though you went through traumatic experiences, childhood abuse, and it could have even been a near-death experience as a child from a beating, the culmination of everything you've learned from that is here, and you're now walking into your new chapter. You are facing your fears down, eyeball, you are facing them down, and you are defeating them. And you're doing it in such a way that people, maybe who knew you from your childhood, are amazed. And they're wondering, how could you possibly overcome this experience? How could you possibly still believe in love? How could you possibly have healed from the unimaginable and horrendous experience that you had? And what I want to share with you is that don't get caught up. Let people marvel and wonder about that. You don't need to explain that to them. You made a choice to heal. You've cemented that choice by the actions that you've been taking and the changes that you've made in your life. And trust and believe that your path is being aligned to like-minded people who will appreciate and respect the authenticity that you live your life with. And if they don't, then they just simply will not be around you for much longer. You're walking into a new chapter in your life. And because of the choice you've made to heal, you can recognize people who have stagnated themselves in fragmented thoughts and a fragmented state of mind. And of course, because you recognize that there's an imbalance there, of course they're going to be angry and they're going to want to blame you for what's going on wrong in their life or what mishap has befallen them. But that's their pattern. There's nothing special to you. They would do that to anybody else that had the same energy of healing and moving forward accordingly. So don't be bothered by that. Let people be who they are and accept the truth for what it is. And as you move forward into this new chapter in your life, know that opportunities that previously would not have been available to you are available to you now because of how you are living your life and the choices you're making and the way that you view yourself, the way that you actually interact with yourself and others. And so that is the message that I want to share with you. It's a heavy fragmentation of the mind is a heavy energy because as it pertains to mental health, it is very often can be a precursor or associated, related to, linked with schizophrenia and dissociative identity disorders and dissociative states of the mind. And I don't know why I'm sharing this, but I'm being compelled right now to share this. Growing up before the age of 8, the foster family that I lived with, my foster father had beaten me so bad that he put me into a coma. And because the state at the time was not doing their due diligence on the home and on our care, they never knew about any of the abuse. It took 13 calls for them to actually come up and send investigators to the high school that I was attending at the time, and talking with the 2 investigators that I spoke to, because I had been so traumatized by this family and that home. It took me 5.5, almost 6 hours before I actually was able to tell this officer what was going on, because I was so afraid that if I spoke up, they were not going to believe me, and I was going to have to go back to the home. And 2 weeks prior to these 2 investigators showing up, his family found out that he was molesting me, and no one reported it to the cops. This is also a man that at the age of 10 put me into a second coma. And the fact that I am alive today is totally by the hand of God. Medically speaking, I should not be alive today. And, one of the blessings of the choice that I made as a very young child to heal is that I was able, at the age of 10, to look him in the face, eyeball to eyeball, and tell him that no matter what he did to my body, it wouldn't change who he was, and it didn't change who I was, and it didn't change the fact that God saw everything and God loved me. And that right after that is when the second worst beating of my life that he perpetuated upon me happened. And after that, the abuse was a lot more malicious and malevolent in nature, because he wanted me to accept a traumatic shame and guilt and blame myself, and I never did. And so I share that with you so that you can understand that when I say that doing the work is hard, that's exactly what I mean. You have to do it in the face of the fear, whether that is a person. And sometimes, like in my case, you don't always get the opportunity to receive, I guess, vindication. But at the same time, I've always understood from a very young age that I am in control of my life. Nobody can make me bow down and fear them unless I choose to give my power to them. Unless I choose to say that they are greater than the God that created everything, or source, or universe. Because I firmly believe in balance. There's balance everywhere you look in life. There's balance in nature. There's balance in relationships. There's balance in every aspect of life. There's no place that you can run from your trauma, because you are your trauma. And if you don't recognize that, you will repeat cycles and patterns that are not truly part of your purpose in life, simply because you choose not to heal. And so I would encourage you today to, moving forward, release the shame and the guilt of what has happened in your life and how you've responded to it, or how you reacted to it, and instead of reacting, choose to respond. And respond from a place of understanding that you are in control of the narrative of your life. You may have people that continually say you're this and you're that and accuse you and, just generally try to craft a narrative so that other people will abuse you and view you as not worthy. But God, in the midst of that, if you're choosing to heal and you're cementing that choice with action, trust that will communicate a different frequency, a different vibration, a different energy to people, as opposed to what they're hearing about you. And that is the safety net and the security that opens these new opportunities for you. So, in closing, may you today release whatever you need to release and receive into your life what is coming in, and be present with it and choose to move accordingly in the days ahead and enjoy your life. All right, bye.